maybe the best place to start is let's start with Honest June and talk about the new book, and then we'll go into your writing process and how that came to be. But my promise to you and to everyone who would ever come on the show is I will never make you sit through me summarizing your book. How painful. So what does esteemed audience need to know about Honest June?
I always have June very close to me. Beautiful book. So Honest June is about a girl, a tween, a middle schooler who can't tell a lie. She is blessed with the gift to always tell the truth by a mystery fairy godmother. And now she has to figure out how she can survive middle school without her little white lies or kind of lies of omission that she was used to telling to help her keep everybody in her life happy. And so it's really a theme of how do I stay true to myself? How do I tell the truth, knowing that my truth might hurt other people? And I think when I think about tweens today, I think about all the pressure. June's under a lot of pressure from her parents who are very successful to go to a certain school and do a certain thing. And so it's about how you also come into your own while also trying to make your parents happy. So I think it's got a lot of magic in it, which is new for me, just kind of experimenting with that. But I've gotten some really good early reviews from my young readers, which I love. And it's just meant to be a lot of fun.
Well, a question I'm fond of asking is who is the ideal reader for this story? And I always imagine that you've got some vague notion of who's in mind. When I say you, I mean other authors. You who have been finding exact people to market to for years and years. I imagine you know exactly who your reader is for this story. Who is it? How do you identify them?
Absolutely. So the answer is tweens, right, in general. But let me then dig down to why June, why this moment. I started thinking about just the anxiety that tweens are under, the pressure that they're under. I think it's especially post-pandemic more than ever, right? We see how anxious life is making tweens. And then I look for common themes and is this something that's bubbling up for the kids that are closest to me? Do I see patterns in society showing that it's affecting, others who aren't in just my group of friends, right? I think sometimes we make a mistake of thinking well, this is happening to my friend, so it must be happening to everyone else without going a little bit wider. So I spent a lot of time just researching, is this an issue? Do kids feel this pressure? We start to, through the series, explore June having panic attacks and really, really feeling anxious and feeling that pressure. And so that's really what I wanted to explore as almost the sub-theme is, what is the anxiety or pressure of our culture? And this, for me, I started seeing this years ago with the schedule that tweens keep. I always had a sport after school, but I didn't feel like I had a schedule in a way, that I felt very scheduled. And so I do spend a lot of time when I'm working on a series, really observing what's happening in culture. My readers always have parents attached to them. I think about how will these themes resonate for those parents? Is there a teachable lesson here? And what I will say about Honest June is I think it's probably the work I've done that will most appeal to tween boys as well. I know that tween boys liked Mackenzie Blue, my first series. I know I have some tween boy readers for the Zee Files, but I think June will probably have kind of the biggest boy audience as well.
What do you think that will attract them to Honest June that maybe wouldn't attract them to the Zee Files?
I think the Zee Files, you find a lot of girl drama and living with friends, and Zee is in her head a lot. June as well. I would say June even more, but I think the little bit of magic, I think June's, one of her best friends is Lee, who lives next door. And she's also a little bit younger. So she's just entering middle school. So I think some of the themes that come out with Zee, that it's more fashion focused or more living away at boarding school. Here you have someone who is integrated in her family, with her parents and just starting middle school, and it being a little bit more about the collective group of friends. And then both series focus on that. I just think sometimes Zee skews a little bit more towards a female reader.
And then in this book, without giving too much away, we're dealing obviously with honesty right there from the title. And June is a person who likes to make people happy. And she's fine with doing that, even if that means not telling people the whole truth, but in a good way. And as I read that, I thought, well, that doesn't sound entirely wrong. What would you say is the right amount, right balance of being honest and not telling people the whole truth, or even maybe little innocent lies meant to be just the most helpful, kindest lies imaginable, or is honesty always the best policy? Where do you fall?
I think it's with June, I see that she tells the truth to her own detriment, right? Where there are moments where if she told her mom, hey, I don't really like how you're dressing me, that's not really my style, maybe her mom would come to understand. And without giving too much away, when June does start to tell the truth, people are way more accepting of her and accepting of her truth than she thinks they will be. So much of what happens in June's life is really in her head. And, we go through these long internal conversations of how she plays things out. Like, if I don't get this grade on this homework assignment, I'm never going to college and I will end up in this place in my life. Like, we kind of play that all the way out. And so I think for June, she feels for some reason that if she were to tell the truth, it would cost her something. And, I hate that she does that to her detriment, and also because she's not used to it, when she does, sometimes it just comes out in not the right way, or she doesn't know how to deliver it, right? She's still working on how she works through what she's really feeling. And so I say, for me, it's like honesty is the best policy, but that's, as you've grown and realize I think I've had to learn how to deliver certain things, and I think for June, she's just like, well, I think what I have to say is like a little too hurtful, so I just shouldn't say it, versus thinking through what's the best way to communicate this.
Gotcha. So be honest, but not brutally so. Am I hearing that right?
I think that be honest, and I would say don't withhold the truth to your own detriment.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And then I know that there's already, you've got 2 sequels coming, but you've already announced that Honest June, The Show Must Go On, is going to be out, August 30th, 2022, exclusive through Target again. Is that right?
It will have an exclusive window through Target again, yes.
So 3 books are planned at the moment. Do you have plans to take it beyond that, or is it going to be a trilogy and then you're on to something else?
We've been discussing it, and I always say, like, I just finished the my outline for the 3rd book, and so I think that we'll see how it goes, but there's definitely an opportunity to go beyond 3. And when I started, I wasn't sure, but as it happens, I sit with characters and I really develop a love for those characters and where the story can go. And with Zee, like, I've been writing, I think I'm on was 5 in the original. I'm on my 10th story now for 11, because I've already done book 6, like the outline for book 6. And so I'm on my 11th story for Zee as she's evolving. And so I think it's where the character can go, and ultimately what the readers are looking for. So the readers will dictate if there's a book 4 for sure.